Will Tesla stock recover? How high will Nvidia go from here? And why should you be paying attention to Bitcoin's price action? We're going to talk about it in this video. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. And what do you get when you cross Paris with bread, egg, and the spirit world? You get French Ghost. All right, we're going to take just a real quick look, SPY, IWM, QQQ, and talk about them in context with Tesla, Nvidia, and Bitcoin. So let me put the charts up here. We're going to jump right into it. So here's SPY. Pre-market hours up at 528. Yesterday fell just shy of price target 2 of 531. And if you go back and watch yesterday's video, you'll see why that is. We'll see if this bounce allows us to take it back up there. World markets are pushing up higher. And so we'll see if we can follow suit over here in the US markets. So for SPY, we'll see if we get above 531. We hit the 50 SMA and EMA on the weekly chart. Huge, massive resistance that, if broken, can actually be a further bounce, making the case for that price target 3. We'll see if we get there. Moving over to IWM, in the pre-market hours, we actually hit that price target 1 of 208. We'll see if we can hit it during the regular market hours. It's about 9 o'clock as I record this. We're darn close to 208 right now. As a matter of fact, it's at 207.85. So we'll see where we open. We do have this gap to fill up here. Let me shrink that up a little bit. This gap, just so you can see where it is. There we are. This gap exists from about 211 to 215. We are up above the 50-day resistance. Yesterday, we got rejected at the 50-day SMA, or 50-week SMA, and that was something that didn't allow us to climb a whole lot higher there. Got smacked right back down, and you can see we got that high top wick. Not quite as high as we saw on SPY, but still, we saw that massive sell-off towards the end of this thing. Volume, not all that convincing. RSI down below 50. We'll see if we keep on climbing right in the middle of that gap to fill from 211 to 215. 2011, my goodness. That was a good year. I gotta say, that was my first daughter was 2 years old. My second daughter was just born that year. My third daughter would be another 12 years off from that date. There we go. So 211 and 215, there's that gap to fill in there. So we'll see if we get that filled. Price target 2 right in the middle of that. So QQQ, as we jump over there, where do we find ourselves? Well, we find ourselves in the pre-market around 445. We hit price target 1 yesterday. We'll see if we climb to price target 2. What did we get rejected off of for that? We actually got rejected off of the prices back over here, and you can see it better on the weekly chart. If you go back, watch my video, this is not the point of this one, but you can see where those prices are. We do have to be on the lookout to see if we climb up and if we get rejected up over here somewhere, that rejected off historic resistance. If that holds, or if we only break a little bit above it, but not this trend line, and retrace back down to this, could set up a head and shoulders, just something in the future to watch out for. So big old question, where the indices is going to go from here, and that's anybody's call right now. So we actually have 2 different things that we can think of for this point in time. We have the fact that everybody expects there to be a further sell-off. Well, when everybody expects that, that brings in the contrarian point of view, which the market can do the opposite. So we got to be on the lookout for that. I got a foot on both sides of the river in this one. I got long positions and I got short hedges, both ready to go for either direction, whichever one we take, to profit on both sides of it. Share that over at the Discord that is available through the Patreon. That link is down in the description. And you can also find a link to a technical analysis trading course down there as well. Make sure that you use the code DOCTOR to get the discount for that one. It's absolutely massive. Let's get into the meat and taters of this now. Tesla. Where does Tesla find itself? Put the technicals out for this yesterday. Rejected at the 200-day, rejected at the 200-day. If we fail to break that today, there could be a further sell. And so for Tesla, to watch as we have from the 200-day all the way up until this trend line resistance that's up here, which I can shrink that up so you can see it a little bit better here on screen. There's the trend line resistance. There's the 50-day moving averages. Here's the 200-day resistance as well. That's about $10 worth of resistance from about 203 up to about 213 that Tesla has to fight through in order to have that bounce. So can we go long in this? Absolutely. If we get rejected off the 200-day, we're probably heading back down towards this support line that we see down here that happened through our consolidation phase and actually goes back quite a while. You can see that traced all the way back to what we had at the beginning of January. So for Tesla, be on the lookout for where we find resistance. If we get rejected off resistance, then we have a fair way to fall back to about the 180s. So just be on the look for that, just to see what happens. Over to Nvidia. For Nvidia, we had indecision yesterday. We had the spinning top candle saying, hey, bulls and bears are still battling this out. They're still trying to fight to decide which way to go on this. If we're able to break higher today, that can decide that we're pushing up higher. Price target 1 is up at 110. We failed to meet it yesterday. We'll see if today is that day. Launching from about 107-ish, looks like we might open around there. We'll have to see. The big resistance is about 115 to 118. So price target 2 is like right inside of that. So that's according to the Fibonacci retracement that we have on here, by the way. 115 to 118, massive resistance in there. If we're able to break through it, then we have a shot at 125. If we get rejected off of that, then we're heading right back down. So that's something that you should need to watch for Nvidia. Their earnings are on August the 28th after the market closes. So I do think that we have a possibility for that run. SMCI did not help us out, being that they are having some margin compression right now, that they have to cut some of their prices. Revenue is still going strong. I do not think that they are the AI indicator or leader. I think that that is going to be Nvidia still as that leader out there. So they can either keep the party rocking for a little bit longer. They could signal the market top, for example. If we have a massive run up to earnings, that can most definitely be a thing that happens. And then, we need to kind of readjust and replan as those earnings come out. I stay bullish on Nvidia for now. We got that nice massive volume, and then we also had the nice massive bounce off of 92. We filled the gap that was down here from about 95 to up about 102. We got the indecision yesterday. Nvidia sold off as the market sold off, and I think it's because of some of the resistances that we hit in the market for the Qs, for the SPY, for IWM. I think those are the reasons that it sold off, not because of Nvidia personally. So if the markets are recovering, Nvidia should be able to recover right along with it. If the markets sell down leading up to their earnings, it's going to make it harder to jump because it has a lower platform to jump from. So it's going to make it harder for it to jump higher. Be on the lookout for what happens with Nvidia leading up to those earnings. That, I think, is upward pressure on the stock. We're going to have to see if the market helps with upward pressure or if the market is going to add downward pressure. So be on the lookout. Watch what the markets are doing, and that's also going to help indicate just how high or how low Nvidia comes into earnings. We're going to have to see. So now for the big one here. Big one this time, and that's Bitcoin. So if you guys got that technical analysis trading course, you might just happen to know about what's on screen in front of you right now. Now, there's a little bit of a mess here because I have the Fibonacci retracement on here. So we could easily climb back up to about 60,000, which is the 50% Fibonacci from the most recent peak to trough. And we could even head up to about 62,000. If we break through that, we have further upside. If we get rejected off of either one of those two levels, we could be heading back down again. So I'm going to get rid of those to get rid of some of the noise that's on the screen and check out what I have on here. These white trend lines that are on here, they're actually rays that I have drawn on across the top, slight downward slope, across the bottom, an even steeper downward slope. This is a descending broadening wedge pattern, and it can be a bullish continuation pattern. So why you should be paying attention to Bitcoin's chart is that depending on how this formation plays out, if it gets confirmed, that is massively bullish for Bitcoin. So we're going to have to see what kind of environment we find ourselves in. Let's take out some of the noise, and we're going to go out to the weekly chart on this. There we go. And actually have a little bit of technicals already drawn on here for you. Actually, I'm just going to redraw the whole thing. Let me get rid of that. And we're going to snag the segment tool, and we're going to mark about where this top is. There we go. And we're also going to mark about where this most recent bottom is. And this is what we're going to go with for right now. So as I have this drawn on here for you, from that top to that bottom, if this is where we find the bottom for Bitcoin, then this can tell us about the breakout that we can expect if we are able to break the top trend line. So let's say that that would be something that would be post-election. Let's go out to like November 25th. We'll say end of November here. End of November, let's say that we were able to break out of the top of this thing. Now, mind you, notice the lows are dropping. That would change. This part up here is fixed, but that would change where this baseline is if we stay in the formation up until that point in time. For this, from wherever that low happens to come in, that top to that low, this would put us at over $90,000 per BTC. Now, mind you, that doesn't mean that happens by the end of November. We don't even know if this is confirmed yet. So there's a lot of reasons to pay attention to it, but not necessarily trade on it. Now, mind you, this is information, this is education, none of it's financial advice. So as you watch for this, we need to watch and see that we stay in the formation. And if we do, we're looking for confirmation that we break out of the formation. You break out of the formation when you break the top trend line. So let's pretend for a moment that it goes this way and then breaks. Then it's this break right here that sets up from top to whatever bottom you had. And then that distance is the distance of that breakout that you can expect. Puts us up to about 90,000 per BTC. According to what I have here, that jump that's on here right now is from about 74,000 all the way down to about 50,000. So about a $24,000 jump if this is the bottom that we're seeing and if we're able to confirm up above that. And I know that there's people out there who look at this and they're like, yeah, but this is just something that can happen. Well, yes, that's exactly how you get ahead of trades, is by looking for what can happen and being ready for it when it does happen. So that's the best that I can tell you, because if you're not looking until it already has happened, then you're behind it and then you're left chasing the trade. And that's not a place that I like to be. I like to be right with it, not too much ahead of it to the point where I'm going to get in early and then the technicals fail, but right there, the moment when it's time. And I share that over in the Discord through the technicals that are over there, along with my buys and sells. Links down in the description for the Patreon. That's how you get into the Discord. And like I said, if you guys want to track these technicals yourself, but you don't know how, there's also a link for a technical analysis trading course, which I have a chapter in there on options as well. If you're interested in options, go ahead and check that out. But again, remember to use that code word doctor on this one. So for BTC, is the floor going to fall out of it? Are these technicals going to play out and this thing's going to rocket right through the sky? Well, let's talk about both of those things just briefly, and then I'll summarize things for you. So is the bottom going to fall out on Bitcoin? I suppose that it could. If you see it as a risk asset, and that's mainly what it is, then the bottom can absolutely fall out of this thing. However, I think that there's also people who treat it like a flight to safety, and I think there's other people who also treat it as a hedge to world currencies. So because of those two other reasons, those final two reasons, I don't think that we see Bitcoin go anywhere near zero. I think that it stays. I think that it has very much lasting strength to it, and it's something that that I think the people who are flight to safety people, and I think the fact that we're hedging world currencies with it, that's one of the ways that's also seen to have strength. I think that's something that keeps some of the wind in its sails, and why we haven't sold off farther while the market has been selling off. I think that's why it has kept the strength that it has so far. It does have some of those risk asset elements to it. Crypto still has that name for volatility, and it certainly lives up to its name. So that's just something to be cautious about. So just like anything else, there's a lot of reasons to be bullish. If this technical plays out, it's going to be incredible. There's also reasons to be cautious. It is crypto. Markets are selling. There are risks that are out there right now that currently exist. Within the market risks, economic risks, geopolitical risks, you name it, they are present. So just to summarize here, for Tesla, watch the 200-day. If we break it and we retest it, we can go higher. We still have to fight through a lot of resistance with the 50-period moving averages on the daily chart, and that trend line resistance breaking up over that gives us more room to the upside. That means we have to break over about 213 if it happens anytime soon, although that is slanted downward, so that price will drop over time depending on how long that takes. Nvidia, watch what the market does, because that's going to set the floor for Nvidia stock, and then leading up to earnings, Nvidia is going to have to try and jump to try and catch on to that. That'll at least tell us that there's a lot of excitement that still exists for Nvidia. If instead we approach it with worry instead of excitement, then that's something that could actually weigh on the price, and that might set up buying opportunities. It makes it a de-risked play to go long on earnings. Some people like to just step aside and wait. I will hold on to my long positions, and then I'll replan after the Nvidia earnings come out. Be on the lookout for my Nvidia stock price prediction and earnings projection. I'll have that ready for you in the near future. Like I said, hit that subscribe button, notification bell to make sure that you see the moment that video comes out, as well as my other videos that are out there. So guys, I'm gonna let you go. Check the links down in the description to support the channel and to support yourselves in your trading and financial journeys. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.